Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going after a hidden threat, a kind of secret enemy to our global food supply. It's this climate one-two punch that honestly you've probably never heard of. But guess what? It's already messing with what's on your dinner plate.
So, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're a farmer. First, this brutal heat wave just cooks your fields. Your crops are just completely withered, begging for water. And then, finally, the skies open up. Relief, right? Nope. Instead of a gentle rain, you get this torrential downpour that floods everything, drowning whatever managed to survive the heat. And the crazy thing is, this isn't some freak accident. It's a very specific, repeating pattern that scientists are just now getting a handle on.
All right, so let's get right into it. To really get what's happening, we have to go right to the scene of the crime, you know? The fields where our food actually comes from.
I mean, listen to this. This is straight from a farmer, and it's heartbreaking. You pray for rain to save your crops, but when it finally comes, it's not a savior. It's just the final nail in the coffin. The heat wave does the initial damage, it weakens everything, and then bam, the rain comes in and finishes the job.
Here's a great way to think about it. The heat wave, that's like your car's engine starting to overheat. The crop is under this incredible stress, but the crazy rain that comes after, that's not the coolant kicking in. That's the brakes completely failing. It's a total system breakdown. And once that happens, well, there's just no coming back from it.
You know, for the longest time, everyone just wrote these things off as, well, just really, really bad luck. Tragic, for sure, but isolated incidents. But a few scientists started looking closer and thought, wait a minute. They started to see a pattern, a kind of signature. It felt less like random chaos and more like, I don't know, a coordinated attack?
Okay, so that brings us to our second part, hunting the hidden killer. This is where the story gets really interesting. A team of, let's call them, climate detectives steps in. Their whole mission was to hunt down this invisible enemy, give it a name, and figure out what makes it tick before it caused even more havoc.
And they did it. They gave it a name. Sequential Heat Precipitation Extremes. Bit of a mouthful, right? So let's just call it SHPE. And the definition is super specific. It's an intense heat wave followed by extreme heavy rainfall, all within 7 days. It's not just a storm. It's more like a spy. It's sneaky. The heat sets the trap and the rain springs it.
So, who were these detectives? Well, there were two main people leading the charge. First, Kifli Ebebe, a meteorologist from Ethiopia. And for him, this was personal. He'd seen this exact pattern wipe out crops back home. He partnered up with Professor Chang Qian, who's a total expert at seeing the big picture. You know, the larger patterns in our climate.
Now, to track this thing down globally, they didn't just use magnifying glasses and notebooks. No way. They brought in the big guns, a super powerful AI called XGBoost. They basically dumped 45 years of global climate data into it and said, okay, AI detective, find us the bad guy's signature. Find it everywhere it's ever been. All right, part 3, the world's food at risk. And what the AI found? Honestly, it was pretty chilling. It gave them this crystal clear and frankly alarming picture of a threat that's getting more common, and it's hitting us right where it hurts the most, in the places we grow our food.
Get this number in your head, -4%. That's how much of our core crops, we're talking corn, rice, wheat, are lost on average every single time one of these SHPE events happens. Now, 4% might not sound like a huge deal, but think globally. A 4% hit is absolutely massive. It's a huge dent in the food supply that every single one of us relies on.
And the AI didn't just say it's bad, it showed them where it's worst. The number of these events has literally doubled in the last 45 years. And they're not just happening anywhere, they are hammering the world's most vital bread baskets, especially in the southern hemisphere. We're talking about huge parts of South America, Africa, Southeast Asia, all the places we count on for our staple foods. So, why is that such a big deal? Because a staggering 80% of the world's food comes from those very regions. And here's the kicker. These are often developing countries that have the least amount of money and resources to deal with a shock like this. Yet here we are, all of us, depending on them to feed the world. And trust me, this isn't just a their problem thing. It creates this global butterfly effect. A crop failure in Brazil can, and does, mean you pay more for groceries at your local supermarket. It completely messes with global goals like zero hunger, and it just makes the gap between rich and poor countries even wider. Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom. This story has a twist, because it's not just about finding a new problem, it's about finding a new solution. And that same AI that played detective to find the threat, Well, now it's being turned into a weapon to help us fight back.
So think about it. What if you could see the killer's next move before they made it, right? If you know an attack is coming, you don't just have to sit there and take it. You can prepare. You can build a defense. It totally flips the script. It turns farmers from victims into defenders.
And that is exactly what this AI can do. It sifts through mountains of data to spot the telltale signs that a Shrappy event is brewing. It's basically a super high-tech weather alert system that can ping a warning right to a farmer's cell phone. So, how does it work in practice? It's actually pretty simple. Step 1, the AI studies all that historical data to learn what these events look like before they happen. Step 2, when it sees those same conditions starting to form, it fires off a warning giving farmers a heads up of up to a week. And step 3, that 1 week is a game changer. Farmers can actually do something, put up shade nets for the heat, dig better drainage for the rain, maybe even switch to hardier seeds. And the potential here is just huge. We're talking about an AI that can explain somewhere between 36 and 42% of the crop losses that we used to just shrug and call bad weather. When you can explain the risk, you can manage the risk. It takes something that felt totally unpredictable, totally out of our hands, and makes it something we can actually handle.
Okay, last section. Let's bring this all back home to you and me. Your plate, our planet. Why on earth should you care about some weird weather pattern happening in a field thousands of miles away? Well, it's because our world is way more connected than we think. That food on your plate, its journey started somewhere, maybe on that farm in Ethiopia. This makes it so clear that climate change isn't some far-off, abstract idea about polar bears. It's a real, direct threat to the food we eat every day. But you know what? The big takeaway here isn't fear. It's actually one of hope, of empowerment. The answer isn't to panic. The answer is knowledge. We've uncovered this hidden threat, and even better, we've built the tools to see it coming and fight back. We actually have a chance to build a stronger, more resilient food system.
So really, it all comes down to this one last question. The knowledge is there, the tech exists, we have everything we need to take this information and actually use it. To protect farmers, to protect our food. The only real question is, are we going to?